Hello and welcome to Andy Show Live. This is series 14, episode number 5 for Sunday the 3rd of December 2023. Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Yes, it's that time again. Hang on, everything's not quite as it should be. That's it, that's better. Yes, it's that time. It's that time again for another Andy Shed Live. The last one for a couple of weeks. We're not here next week. We're having a week off next week. So we will be back in 2 weeks' time, which will be something like the 17th of December. Is it in 2 weeks? Let me have a look. I'll tell you. Yes, 17th of December. That's it. Right, I'm just going to see what the barking dog is up to, because he's barking his head off. Right, that wasn't a very good start, was it? Right, shall we try that again? Yeah, we'll try starting again. Yeah, he's calmed down now. He's been outside. He's calmed down. He's seen the remains of the snow. Yeah. Right. Hello to everybody who is in the chat. I'm just looking who we've got in the chat today. Right, where are we? Days. Right, so we've got Wesley here. We've got Keith is here. It says Fat Hobbit sends good wishes. Still having problems getting on the live chat. Wesley is here. Dominic is here, masquerading as GWR King Class. It says, even though I was having some issues earlier with my account loading on Odyssey. There have been lots of internet issues over the last few days with lots of different internet service providers. So it might have been Odyssey, or it might have been your internet service provider, because there's been all sorts happening. He says there's plenty of snow in Belper today. That's not too far away from me. Yeah, we've got some here as well, although it is melting rapidly at the minute. Don't it say it was a shame that Concorde Blue case was damaged last week? Yeah, it's down here. Yes, it is. I've still got to have a rummage and see if I can find one that's not damaged to replace it with. Wesley says, we get them bills are in the YouTube chat. I've left a message in the chat there. Right, they're in the wrong chat, are they? Yeah, you're in the wrong chat, guys. If you're on YouTube and you're in the chat on YouTube, the chat should be disabled on YouTube, really. If it isn't, my apologies, but it should be. Right. Okie dokie. So we've got one or two people here. Hopefully we'll find some of the others as the show goes on. As I say, if you're watching this on YouTube, this chat that you see here is not on YouTube, and I can't see the YouTube chat. So if you're leaving messages in the YouTube chat, you're leaving them for nothing because I can't see it. You need to go to the website, which is andyshed.corepress.net. Stick live on the end of it, /live on the end of there, /live. Stick that on the end of there, and it will take you to a page on the website where you can open a chat window. You should be able to. I will do it for you, because I think some people have been having a bit of bother with it. So if I can if I can grab a screen here, and I will show you how we do this chat. Right, so right, so here now, in a moment, you should be able to see the chat. If I now transition it, right. So if you go to this website here, andyshed.corepress.net /live. The /live on the end of it is important. If you've not done the /live, go on the menu here and click this live here. And click the live bit, and it will show you what's actually going out now on the live stream. But crucially, it said you can participate in the live chat by opening a new tab and clicking here. Right? So if you click there, it then opens a new tab, and you can see then that you are in the live chat. And you may have to log in to do this. You may have to log into your Odyssey account, but there is the live chat if you do that. So that shows you where it is, and this is going out live. This is the page on the website where it's all going out live, and it changes, you see, 'cause it catches up. So it's catching up with itself there. So that is what is actually going out at the moment. So I hope that's explained it. So as I say, the address that you are looking for is that andyshed.corepress.net, but then stick /live on the end of it, and then you will find the thing to open the live chat there. And you should be able to do it on any browser, on a phone, on a tablet, on a computer, whatever. You should be able to do that for opening the live chat. Okay, have we made it clear? Hopefully you'll understand that. I'm looking a bit blue tonight. There's something weird going on with the lights in here. I'm looking a bit off colour. I'm not really blue. It's not really that cold. At least it's not in here. It is outside, but it's not too bad in here. Right. right, let me close a few windows. So I've got far too many things open at the minute. Right, there we go. Yeah, it says Odyssey just started. Cool. Right, okay. You might be a little bit behind, Bills. You might be like a minute behind, because it goes through something called Restream now, so it can still go out on YouTube. We don't go direct to YouTube, and we don't go direct to Odyssey. What I do is I send it from the computer here to something called Restream, and then they split it and send it two ways. They send it both to YouTube and to Odyssey. So it parts its ways at Restream, and they currently send it two ways. They can send it up to 5 ways, so we might be going on some other platforms soon, including our own version of YouTube, our own video streaming site, but that's something that might be happening after Christmas. It certainly won't be happening before Christmas, just not got time to do it. But yeah, watch out for that coming soon. We are also hoping to start streaming on a platform called DTube as well fairly soon. So we're hoping to get on there in the not too distant future as well. Right, what's everybody been up to this week? It's been relatively quiet here. I've been doing lots of my day job, lots of dog walking this week, so I've not really got far with the with the telephones. One more has arrived though, in the post, because it was a bargain. It was like less than a £5, but it's nothing special. It's just a very grotty 746 that has come. It's a 1978 model, apparently. Manufacturer code GNA. Let's say it's from 1978. Can you see that? And it's absolutely filthy. It really, really is mucky, this. Yeah, it is filthy as filthy can be. Really dusty and stuff. If I can get a camera on it, you will see the state of it. There we go. So yeah, not terribly clean at all. So I'm just unwinding the cable. And that's wrapped around there. 1978 746. Nothing special about it, but it was cheap. Does it work? The clutch in the dial doesn't work, because I can feel that dragging the whole of the dial mechanism around. Yeah, I can feel that dragging the whole thing around with it. So the clutch in the dial isn't currently working. Whether we'll be able to get it working or not is anybody's guess, actually, at the mo. We'll give it a try if I can find me sucker thing, because I used to do this with sellotape, getting these dial opals off, and people always used to say, oh, GPO used to do that with a sucker, so I got a sucker to do it with. And now, whenever I want it, I cannot find it. It disappears on a fairly regular basis. Where has it gone? We'll find it in a minute. It's not going terribly well today, is it? You know, they said there'd be days like this. They did. Yeah. sure there'll be somebody out there who can see it and will be yelling at me now. It's there, Andy, it's there. But I'm damned if I can see it. Nope, totally cannot see that. No idea where that's gone. So, will it just lift out? Sometimes if you tap them on one side, you can lift them out on the other side. Yeah, like that. Don't attempt to put a screwdriver or anything in, otherwise you might damage this. This is a case of do as I say, not as I do. There's a label, looks like an original one. So now we've got a screw in there, which of course we can take the finger wheel off with. And we're taking the finger wheel off. Basically, we're going to put a foam up there, so I've got a bit more space on the bench. Where should I put it? Up there somewhere. Right, it's absolutely filthy this. Look at the dust on it. Right, so there's a screw in the back, of course, being the 746 in here, and this should be retained and it should have a little spring on it as well. But whether it will or not, I wouldn't like to say. Well, it feels like the spring might be there. Is it? Yes, the spring is there and it feels like it's retained. So, we take the handset off. I'll do it the other way around. It might be a bit easier for you to see it. And then we lift at the back and the case should come straight off, and it does. And there we go. And it's quite dirty on the inside as well, which is unusual. They're not normally filthy on the inside. Right, so we'll have a look. If it's been converted, and weird things have gone on inside here, because if you look here, you can see that, but it's got a jumper that doesn't go anywhere. On there, this has not been converted to plug and socket, but it has got an extra jumper that doesn't go anywhere, which is mighty bizarre. So, and it's odd because it has got on the other end of the cord here, it's got this. So it's got a normal terminal for a line cord into one of these, and this is really good because it means you can use the original line cord all the way, and then you've got one of these devices that's got a modern plug on it. So that's really good. I've not seen one quite like that before. I'd like to get some of those. If anybody knows where you can get them, if anybody knows what that is called, or whatever, or a supply of them, let me know. Preferably cleaner ones than this particular version. But yeah, let me know. I mean, it seems there's a screw in it, so I think there's going to be connections inside it. Possibly screw terminal connections, I don't know. Let's have a look. So I've never looked at one of these before, because I've never seen one of these before. At least not that I can remember. So we'll take that screw out a second. Take that back off. And look. wonder if that's something somebody's made. Because it's... You know something? I think it is something somebody's made. But they've made a damn good job of it. Isn't that clever? Now, Y to my line cord though is not connected up by the looks of this. It's come adrift, it should be in there. So it wouldn't have worked. I mean, there it is. I mean, it's not the greatest line cable in the, to be honest, but it should be in there. Now, am I going to be able to get in there with this screwdriver and undo that? Yes, I am. Let's shove that. Inside there if we can. And for some reason it doesn't want to go in the hole. Not sure why that is. Perhaps it's a bit of wire from the other side that's been pushed in too far. Not well. Try and clamp it down. Have we got it? Yes, I think we have. So we will now attempt to put that back together. So that back in there, that back in there. If somebody's made this out of like an extension socket or something, they've made a really good job of it. I think I've got that the wrong way around. Does it only go one way? Is it? Yeah, it looks like it. Because it only lines up one way. So I've got it the right way around now. But the question is whether the connections all need remaking in there. It looked like it might need all new connections inside. Self-tapping screw, a bit hard to get back in, obviously not going back down the threads exactly as it came out of. Let me get a bigger screwdriver. That's it. Right. So there. I'm going to plug this in just to see if we get any life out of it. So here we go. Oh! Right, I'm getting crackling in the handset, but no signal, which probably because the phone is not converted to plug and socket, is it? I've just remembered. So it might work once it's converted. We will have to see. So what we're going to do is do the conversion. So here it is, and we've got wires going everywhere with this. Right, so what Velcros have we got? Are they 500 ohm? It's normally written on them, but I can't see anything written on here. I'm assuming they are. So yeah, I'm going to put that screwdriver away a minute and use this one instead, because it may be a little bit easier with this one. Right, so here's what we do. Right, for a start, I'm going to take that extra jumper off there because it's annoying me, because it doesn't go anywhere. So that one's off. Right, then we want this one here. Nothing's attached to it. This one has to be on its own. This is T7. So we'll pull out that jumper as well. Now 6 and 5 and 4 should all be together. Now this is where you would normally put a resistor in there. But we're not going to at the moment. It should still work without. Now what I need now is a jumper in here, so I'm going to just bend those up a bit out of the way there, just so I can get a jumper in here between 17 and 18. Green of the line cord is currently on there, on 17. That's got to come off. White of the line cord goes on, but also going on, we want one of these jumpers to jump 17 and 18 together. So there we should have it, and green we normally park it on the next one along here, which is 19, 18, 17, 18, on 15, which is under here. We normally park it on that. It's not connected to anything. but it's just a place to put the terminal, sort of thing. Actually pull that out of there a minute. Just makes it a bit easier to access. Stick that on there. Do that up. And then we can put that back on there, and they are the wrong way around. They're normally crossed over, so all the things from the line cord that tend to connect around here, that grommet normally goes on this side, and all the things for the curly cord that tend to connect around here, that grommet normally goes on that side. So they normally the opposite way around to what they are there. Don't ask me why. But right, so I've now basically done a down and dirty conversion of that without putting the resistor in. It's okay because the line I'm connected to has not got any other phones on it. Do we now get anything? Yes, I think we do. Right, I've just got to move my headset. Yes. There's a dial tone. So if I now dial on my other phone here, it should ring. There you go, it's ringing if I let the switch up. There we go. So now the call is connected, so I blow down one and listen in the other. Like this. Seems to work. So this phone seems to work. So what I can do is I can try and ring that now, which is on 2021. It's on 22, I think. Yep, there we go, it's ringing. So we will now uncouple it a minute, because the next thing we need to do now is look at the dial and also get this knot out of the line cord on here. But I'm liking that. I don't know if somebody's done a homemade thing on that or what they've done there, but I'm really liking that. Anybody got any information on it? What are you all saying about it in the chat? Just catching up on the chat. Gets it. It's got a rare AE40 with a Siemens dial, made in Canada. Keith says, please tell me you have another Escape the Shed, Andy. Yes, Keith. We're working on it. We're working on it. Dominic says, what will you christen it, Andy? Dominic says, I agree, Keith. I enjoyed that live one after Christmas. Yeah, the live Christmas Escape the Sheds. I think last year it was reasonable, wasn't it? But we've tried to do it in the past and it's not been very successful because the live stream's dogged out on us. But yeah, I'd like to do one over Christmas. There is talk of going back to Wales to go and see Andrew You may remember if you were watching a few months ago, we went and shot a bit of recorded video at Andrew. Andrew's a telephone collector out in Wales, and I had a road trip. It was just after Christmas last year, actually, when I went on the road trip to go and see him, and spent the day looking at his phone collection and stuff. He got some really nice things, including some very, very nice Bakelite phones and that. And he gave me one or two things to add to the collection here as well. We've been invited back. He's asked us to go back, so I'm thinking of going back there, and it might be possible to do a live show from there while we're there. I don't know. So, but yeah, there will be something. There will be live things over Christmas. We're working on it. There's going to be a live from the radio studio at some point over Christmas, and Escape the Shed, a traditional live Escape the Shed over Christmas as well, which could be technically interesting, shall we say. Dominic says, it was my dad's 60th and he went back to the same hi-fi shop he bought his last hi-fi system from around 40 years ago. I was asked to be a consultant and help set it up. Interesting stories from one of the older members of staff about how the proprietor would often deliver at 11 PM back in the day. Wish they'd do that now. Can't get delivery at all these days. True customer service, says Keith, and I couldn't have put it better myself. Dominic also says, I replaced my broken amp with the same Sony model, which came with a better tuner than my current one in a bargain lot from the same mid-70s Sony range. It has a direct FM coax connection, so hopefully we'll pull in more FM stations. Must get round to fixing the amp and selling it on. Cool. Right. Nobody said anything about my connector on the end of this cable then. Which is what I was hoping somebody was going to tell me what it was, but not to worry. We'll continue. Right, so the reason I took this phone apart in the first place was because the dial was a bit rough. It's dialing, but I can feel that it's dragging. The clutch in the dial isn't working. I can feel it's dragging the whole mechanism around as I put my finger in the finger wheel. So let's have a look. It's one of these late dials. Now let's turn this round again so you can see what's happening. Right, for those of you who aren't familiar, this thing here is a clutch, and when you dial a number like that, it goes that way, but that big white cog shouldn't be turning. Only the little cog on the top should turn, going that way, and then when you release it, both should turn, so the white one can work the governor down here. But as you can see, both are turning both ways, so that is faulty. Now, so we have to get that out, and the way we get that out is there's a little screw here to take out, and then there's this thing to take out, which is actually hexagonal. So you could theoretically get a little socket on it. I've never got one small enough. I normally get it out with a pair of small pliers. Right, I'm just looking if I've got a pair. Right, I'm going to swap my screwdriver back to my smaller one to get this screw out here. Right. So that screw has to come out. there. I'll put that on top of that pot there a minute. And then we've got to get this hexagonal thing out, so I need really the little a little pair of pliers for that. And I have a small pair of pliers here, so being careful not to mangle up the hexagon, just turn it, and they're not in that tight generally, and it should just start moving, which it is doing. So now normally once you've started it you can do it with your fingers, but this one is a bit tight all the way, it seems. Shouldn't have to go that far with it though. No. I mean, the problem here is because we're one of these cheapened dials made out of this nasty white plastic, it doesn't want to loosen up. The plastic is holding it all the way, a bit like how a nylon nut works. No, will not open that. I could actually do with a tiny socket, but I don't know if you get the socket down the side of this here, this big cog here. So, so I have to tilt it away from the camera to do it. Right, that's it. It'll come on its own now. Right, that's fine. So now this piece, which on earlier dials is metal, comes out. Now there's a little lock washer thing on there, don't lose that. Now we should be able to jiggle this free. There we go. And now you can see what it is. If I can get me seat closer. You can see now what it is. You see, and basically this should turn. It should be loose almost. When you do that, it shouldn't. So that way, turning that way, it should turn without turning this piece, and it doesn't. So the answer to it is, now there's no safe way of doing this, and you can mess these up. But the answer is to hold that and jiggle this. So you hold the white piece, and then the little pinion should turn anti-clockwise, and it does a little bit. It does. It's stiff, but it does. So if I hold it gently there, so I don't mess up the teeth on the pinion, you can see I can turn this, but it is stiff. So what we're going to do is put a little bit of oil in it. Good old 3-in-1. Bought from Jones shop in Bolsover that's been knocked down for years and years and years. That shows how long I've had the 3-in-1 oil. I'm going to kind of drop some oil in it and work it a bit, and just basically just keep, it's already going easier, keep turning that, and it should turn that way but not that way, and it doesn't go that way. It'll go that way but not that way. So you just have to keep working that for a bit until one way it goes really easy. It's just lack of use that's gummed it up basically over the years. Now the early ones, the early dial 21s, this bit is made out of a kind of composite material, and those ones do not free off as easy as the later ones. You do end up knackering them up, those. But you can't, but the later ones are a direct replacement, so if you've got any of these later ones in these plastic dials, you can put this bit into an early dial 21. But it's going much easier now, you see. I can just run it across the back of my hand now, sort of. Still not easy enough though. Does still need easing up some more. But it's getting better as we go. Just looking what people are saying. Wesley says, was there more in the hall you showed us last week, Andy? There was, Wesley. I've had to move them because I was getting buried in stuff here. So I have had to move them, but I'll show you them next time, the other things in the hall, which I think will be 2 weeks time. So hopefully 2 weeks time I should be able to show you the remainder of the hall. Dominic says, Dominic, masquerading as GGR King Class, says, that connector looks like it could be handy for awkward phone sockets. It does, doesn't it? Yeah, it's an interesting connector. Dominic also said it looks like quite a late dial, maybe even an 80s one. Yes, it is. It might not be the original dial. Right, this is getting quite easy now. It'll run that way, you see, on the back of my hand, but it won't run that way. Look, you can see it's not turning now. You see that? It rotates that way, but not that way. So it's getting easier. I'm going to keep doing it a little bit longer, because the longer you do it, let the oil soak in, the better it gets. Doopy-doopy-doo, talk amongst yourselves a minute. It is worth saying, of course, at this point, that we do also have a forum for a telephone chat and that. Although I must admit I've not been on it myself for a while. gpotelephones.proboards.com is the old forum there if you want to get on it. I think we're going to sort of bring it back into life over Christmas, perhaps, that, and get some posts on there. So it might be worth having a little look at it over the Christmas period. Right, how are we getting on here? Oh yeah, it's getting much easier now. This much easier. Yeah, definitely going the right way. Of course, it is a very manky telephone, this. It does need a good clean. And I've shown you before how to take cords off and clean them in warm soapy water, haven't I? It doesn't hurt them at all, provided you dry them off again before you reconnect them to the phone. So I just dunk them in warm soapy water with something like washing up liquid to make the soap suds. And clean them that way, and they normally come up pretty good. Now this rotates quite easily now. It's not totally free, and it will never be totally free spinning, but it rotates relatively easily. So I think we can put that back in now. So we've got to get it in a little tiny hole in the bottom of there. Is it in? It may be in. Is it in? I think it is now. Yep. And then we put this keeper thing back on top, and I'm hoping that little lock washer thing's going to stay in place now. I'm going to put that little in first. Now, was it that hole there? No, it was that hole there. No, was it that hole there? Yes, it was that hole there. And then this hole on the keeper thing has to go over the top of that little pinion like that to hold that in. Then this little screw that put back in place here. We can do that up just loosely for now. And then this little weird shaped thing, because it's kind of got the bit on the end for the little spring clip thing that holds the plate on, you see, that holds the finger plate on. So you can see what an odd shape it is, that. Just imagine if you had to make one of those. That would be a bit of time on a very small lathe, wouldn't it? So that now goes in there. And we can start it by hand, but then it jams up. So then we have to start, or rather finish it off by doing it like this. Pick it up again just to do this, because I'm having to turn this further than I normally would. It would normally go in almost all the way with your fingers. But it's such an awkward thing to get at. Right, I think that's got it. Right. Also now, I was wondering why I couldn't get this nut in. I don't think this screw in rather. But I think the reason I can't get this screw in is because the screw is not cut across the middle of it. It's a bit defective, that screw. Right, so now it should turn that way without turning all the gubbins here. So I mean, the friction will hold that, but if I put a thing in there now, you see, you can see we can do it. If I hold that so it can't turn now, you see, you can dial round, the little pinion gear turns, but the white one doesn't. But then when it goes back, it goes all the way back. So it should be a lot easier now to turn the dial. So we'll just try it. We'll just put the finger wheel back on. And just give it a go. See how it is. Oh yeah, much easier. I mean, it is still dragging it a bit, but nowhere near as bad as it was. One 1001, and it's running about the right speed now as well, that. So we'll take the finger wheel off again. I mean, it's all got to come apart again and be cleaned, obviously, because this is just as it's arrived with me. So take that off again. We can put the finger plate back on. That thing we just put in, that weird shaped thing, goes through one of the holes here, you see, like that, and then this goes back on. Now this is asymmetrical. It's got these two little dings in it, these little bends in it, so I had to go round those there. And if you put it on that way, it won't work because this end piece goes over this raised bit here. So it only goes on one way around. It wants the shorter end at this end. And then that one clips in that bit there. So that holds that together. Sometimes these spring clips are missing. If you get a clone of a 706 or anything like that, often on the cheapened clones made for private systems, often this spring clip is missing. Because it's not absolutely crucial. That goes on, fits over two little tabs, locate it. We put the screw in the middle again, making sure we've got the correct screw for the hole in the finger wheel. If the finger wheel has got a flat bottomed hole, you need a flat back screw. If it's got a countersunk bottom to the hole, you need a countersunk screw. Put the wrong screw in the wrong hole and you will damage the finger wheel if you tighten it up. So there we go. It now seems to be working. Now I'm now going to take the finger wheel off again because of course I've got to get the case back on. And that's much easier without the finger wheel in place. You're far less likely to damage anything, particularly the bezel on the case. So take the finger wheel off again. Get the case. Being a 746, it's got a tab under there that fits under that raised bit of the base there. So we'll put it on at the front first. Make sure the bezel is rotated to the correct place, so that cutout is where the finger stop is. And then you have to kind of jiggle it about so it goes past the top of the dial here. So and then we're back on. See why we took the finger wheel off to do that. So now I can put the finger wheel back on, the screw back in the finger wheel, and the filthy phone is basically back together and hopefully still working. Shall we try it? Shall we test it? Oh, hang on, wrong camera. What's happened there? That's the one it should be. Right, so we'll try this now. I'll plug my magic plug into the socket now, and we will try. Oh yeah, still got a dial tone. We will try dialing, and it does indeed dial the other phone. How good is that? If I hang this up, that phone will stop ringing. There you go, stopped. So that's it. That is a absolutely filthy. My hands are so dusty now. 746. I mean, it's not a valuable phone, of course. It's ivory, which is one of the commonest colours. Ivory and grey were the two commonest colours. But it did only cost me about £5, so I got it, and we've got it working at no cost to us for parts. We've not had to fit any parts or anything, so that is good. What I've not done, now what I must do before I try and pick it up, is do up the screw in the back of the case, which on this particular phone is retained as it should be. Don't do these up too tightly, because if you do you might not get them out again. So there it is now. I can now safely pick it up, and everything is done. Right, what are people up to in the chat? Yeah, Dominic says it looks like it's quite a late dial. Yeah, I think it is, Dominic. I don't know if there was an actual date on the dial. I might have to look at some point. This has actually got something on it. There's like a rough bit on the case there. I don't know if it's a cigarette burn or if it's a bit of glue or something that's been dropped on it, but we'll have to have a look when we clean it up. I've actually run out of Brasso at the minute. I've got to try and find some Brasso. A lot of places that sell Brasso these days only sell the wadding stuff. They don't sell the liquid. And of course I want the liquid, or tea cut. I might have to go to a car shop and get some tea cut instead. But yeah, there's the phone working. I'm quite impressed with that. I quite like that. There we go. Right, so that is it. I'll wrap the line cord around it for now, just to keep it all together, sort of in a sensible place. We'll stick it back up there where it was for a minute. So that is about that, and indeed that is about it for today, I think. I'm looking back through the chat, see if I've missed anything, but I don't think I have. I think Christopher's missing again this week, isn't he? It's 2 weeks now he's been missing. That's very unlike him. Where are you, Christopher? You're still in the land of the living, mate. Right, that is about it for us for now. As I say, we are not on next week. And the reason being, I am probably going to be at the radio studio next week, and that we have got stuff to do, because we're having internet reinstalled at the radio studio, and it's supposed to be happening not tomorrow but the following Monday, I think. So next Sunday I'm probably going to be at the radio station getting ready for the internet reinstallation. Wesley says, is there any progress on the radio launch? Quite simply, no, Wesley, because we are short of people. We are short of presenters for shows and things at the moment. Technically, it's ready to go, but I don't want to launch just playing back-to-back automated music. I don't want to do that for a number of reasons. One of which, it's not what I want to do. It's not what a proper radio station does. Two of which, when we launch, it suddenly becomes very, very expensive. We have to pay royalties for every piece of music that we play, and because we're going to be on 24/7, there are going to be computers and things on in that studio 24 hours a day. And I did a quick calculation of costs, and just the electric bill is going to be in the region of £3,000 a year just to run the computers and things. So I don't want to launch until we are really, really ready. And the problem at the moment is it's very slow to get sponsors, to get advertisers and that, and I don't think we will get many advertisers until we've got a decent roster of shows, and we are very short of people to come in and actually do shows. I'm quite surprised about it, because there are a lot of people who make radio shows for fun out there, who kind of do it at home and make shows at home. So I thought some of those people would be only too keen to actually come into a proper functioning studio rather than sit in front of their PC at home and actually use proper mixers and things to do the show. I thought people would be quite keen on doing that and coming in and working in a proper studio environment, but it doesn't seem to be the case. So we are a bit short of people. Where it says it must still be costing a bit to tick over, even not broadcasting. It is, Wesley. It costs about 150 quid a month for it to tick over, but that would go up a lot if it was switched on all the time. A heck of a lot. It's something like a kilowatt an hour it uses. So 1 kilowatt hour current rate's about roughly between 25 and 35p for electric for a kilowatt for an hour. So it's going to cost, just to keep the electric on, roughly between 25 and 35p an hour, depending on the time of day. So let's call it 30p an hour. Well, when you multiply hours by 24 in a day, and then your days by 7 in a week, and then your weeks by 52 in a year, it becomes quite a scary figure. Shall we do the math? And I'll do the math. So let's we say it's a kilowatt. So 1,000. So a kilowatt, let's say, is about, let's call it 30p. So 30p multiplied by 24 for a day is £7.20 a day. Alright, for the electric. So 720 times 365 equals 2,628 pence. So you see why I don't want to switch it on until we're really, really ready to go. Then add another £400 or £500 onto that, at least £400 or £500 for rights for people like PRS and that. So you're at £3 a year to run. At least £3 a year. Now add on another 1,200 or so for rent on the unit. You're at about let's call it £4.5 a year. So 4,500 divided by 12 is £375 a month, and at the moment it's costing about £150 a month. So you see, it's a big jump. When we press the go button, it's got to start earning its keep, sort of thing, which at the moment it doesn't. Well, it says, are there any sponsor interest yet? Well, we've not really put it out, Wesley, because there's no shows on it or anything yet. We've not really tried to get any sponsors because we've got nothing really to show them yet. So I thought it was better to wait until we'd got something reasonably polished that we can show to people. So we're looking at it. I'm thinking it might launch in about February or March of next year, when the dark nights are over and people sort of start coming out of hibernation again. I'm thinking it might launch somewhere around about there. But we have had some technical issues with it. We have actually got a technical issue with the mixer at the minute, with the power supply for the mixer. The mixer is powered by a little black box power supply that takes in 240 volts and spews out various voltages to different bits of the mixer. And of course it all has to be specially smoothed and that, so there's no electrical noise, because it's a piece of audio equipment. So these power supplies are quite expensive for a power supply. You know, it's not a £5 wall wart thing, you know, that you buy off Amazon. You're talking, for these power supplies, second hand, you're talking £150, £200 at least. For these power supplies. So we've got a problem with one we've got at the minute, that it keeps going off and coming back on and going off and coming back on, and I think it's something to do with old capacitors in the power supply. So we might have to take that apart and change all the capacitors, recap it as they call it, but I'm not looking forward to doing that because I think it's going to be quite complicated inside. We've done it with a video machine, with a professional video machine, with a digital Betacam video machine, a video player, a few months back, and it took me and a couple of electronics experts, which I'm really not, it took about 3 of us, I think 2 months, to find the capacitor that was at fault in this power supply, and it was nowhere near as complex a supply as the one that's for the mixing desk. Dominic says, that sounds just like the problem with my current amp. Yeah, could be, Dominic. Well, it could be a capacitor in the power supply. But yeah, I'm going to make a video on it. I'm going to make a how to start a radio station video about this power supply issue, because I think it could be one that affects lots of old broadcast quality Soundcraft mixers. But it's a CPS 150 power supply from Soundcraft. So if you see one of those on eBay or anything, a CPS 150 power supply. It's kind of an oblong black box. It's about that long and about that deep and about that far front to back sort of thing. And it's for a Soundcraft mixer, Soundcraft audio mixer. Dominic says there's so many capacitors on just the protection relay board that it was easier to find a replacement in the meantime. Yeah, the recapping things is quite tricky when it's modern stuff, because there's a lot of capacitors in it, It's not like an old radio where there might have been a dozen capacitors. It's now hundreds that you've got to look at. It's really not an easy task to do. And with modern circuit boards now as well, it's all such tiny surface mount components, it's almost impossible to do. I wouldn't want to do it with anything really modern. But that's the status of it. That's the status of the radio station at the minute. It's basically there, it's ready to go. Part of the problem is, as well, the building has filled up with other stuff. As anybody that's been there, Dominic's been there, and one or two others have been there, the building has filled up with other stuff that really shouldn't be in the room, but is in the room for want of somewhere to put it at the minute. So yeah, there's a load of telephones appeared in there, that are like the overspill from the loft here, and some vintage sewing machines and all sorts of stuff. So we've got to have a kind of tidy up and going over of things. Dominic says, I can confirm. Yeah. So yeah, there is stuff there that shouldn't be there. So we do need to get that sorted out as well. There's just always something to do. Always something to do. And I only have so many hours in a day, which is one of the reasons this show's not on next week. Because something had just got to give next week, and I'm afraid it's going to be this. But we will be back in 2 weeks' time in the run up to Christmas. By the way, did anybody spot the clock before the show today? There it is. The Christmas clock is back once again. Our festive clock. If anybody's got any ideas for other sort of clocks to celebrate a special day or something for in the new year, let us know. Get in touch via the contact us form on the website andyshed.coldpress.net. Let us know if you've got any ideas for any celebratory clocks for the new year, and we'll do some different clocks for the beginning of the stream. Right, that really is about it from us for now. Thanks to everybody for taking part once again. Remember, we will be back in a fortnight's time, 2 weeks today. So we're not on next week. We're back 2 weeks today, and hopefully by then we will have stuff back up and running internet wise from the radio station as well. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to report a bit of good news there in 2 weeks time. Dominic says, I wonder whether you could do a live feed of one of your clocks on the wall. Clocks on the wall? What do you mean, Dominic? Whether you could do a live feed of one of your clocks on the wall. Explain. Do you mean just leave a live feed on of this clock? Of this clock? Or do you mean a live feed of an actual ticking clock? Because you can probably hear a clock ticking in the background up here. But yeah, I suppose it's possible if anybody would be daft enough to watch it for hours on end. That, yeah, we could just leave that up, couldn't we, like that? He's not responding because there's a bit of a delay. I wonder if you could do a live feed of one of your clocks on the wall. It says, as a special for 1 week, showing an actual clock in place of the usual one. Right, well, to do that, we need to build a thing called a noddy, really. A noddy is a... If you're thinking Noddy is a character from a children's book, you did not work at Television Centre in the 1970s. if you did work at Television Centre in the 1970s, you'll know exactly what a noddy is when we talk about it relating to clocks and things. I think there are photos on the internet somewhere of a noddy. Let's see if I can find one. Yes. Right, here's a picture of a noddy. Can I? Right, can I show you this? This is the BBC Two noddy by the looks of it, but if I can Right, I'm just trying to get this noddy up for you. Right, if I can find it now. Right. Right, this is a noddy. Right, that's a noddy. And this picture has come from Pinterest, by the way, so I'm assuming we're okay for copyright for the photo. This is the BBC Two noddy. There was a BBC One noddy as well, but this is the BBC Two noddy. Now, the thing on the left hand side that looks for all the world like a rejected alien from Doctor Who, that is actually a camera with some lights on it. It's a remote controlled television camera with two lights on it, one at either side, and that can rotate around and also can nod up and down, hence the name noddy. And that's the thing on the left. Then on the right you can see various captions that it can point at. Now these are ones for BBC Two. It looks like it's BBC Two in the 60s from what I can see here. But if you look at the bottom one of the middle row, there is the BBC Two clock, which is actually a physical clock built in to this noddy array. So if you want a real clock that's not an electronic clock, that is how you do it in the world of broadcasting. All that to show a clock. or other things, you know, all the captions you could possibly want for BBC Two are there. Now the thing is, you really kind of need two noddies, because if you want to cut from one caption to another, the thing's got to move between them. So unless you've got something else to cut away to, you need two identical noddies. So you can set one and take the feed from that one on one caption, then the second noddy moves to the next caption you want, then you can take the feed from that, so the first noddy can move to the third caption you want to take the feed from that. So actually, to run 2 channels, BBC One and BBC Two, you probably need 4 noddies. I don't know if they had 4, or if they only had 1 per channel. I don't know how they did it. But also built into this was the globe, was the spinning globe for BBC One. That was also built into one of these units, like this. So that is a noddy. But yeah, we could probably show a real clock in some way. Where it says, if you worked at Television Centre in the 1970s and were not part of Operation U-Tree, yes, quite. I think there are a few people. I think there are a few people there who weren't part of Operation U-Tree. Yeah, I think there are a few. Yeah. Right, that is about it for today. We'll see about the showing a proper clock, a real clock. How could we do that? Yeah, we'll find a way. We'll find a way. I'd quite like to build a proper BBC noddy. I don't know that anybody's somebody recreated a globe. Somebody built the globe out of a noddy, didn't they? But I don't know that anybody's actually built the noddy itself. But we shall see. We shall see. Right, that really is about it for now. Thanks to everybody for watching once again. And it took a strange little diversion off the end there into the world of noddies. Yeah, who knows what we'll end up talking about when we're back here in a fortnight's time, and Christmas will be just around the corner, and hopefully in a fortnight I'll have more news of what we are going to be doing over Christmas as well. Of course there will be a live Escape the Shed. It's become a bit of a Christmas tradition. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We are a bit at the mercy of networks, but every year, of course, technology moves on a bit, so every year it should get a little bit better, that, so hopefully. But it says, you'd surely only need to nod if showing multiple sources. Yes, if you're going from one caption to another, because the thing has to move. Yeah, that's right. So you'll need to cut away from it to something else while it moved to find the next caption, and then cut back to it. So that's why I think there were probably 2 for each channel, or maybe there was something like the globe, perhaps not in the noddy, that you could cut to and then cut back to a noddy caption. So yeah, it's all quite complicated stuff. I'm going to research the noddy a bit more now. I've read about it before. What it says, you can change camera views as part of your show now. Yeah, well I've always been able to change camera views. Yeah, because we can transition from this camera, which is camera 1, to the camera on the desk, which is camera 2, which is that one there. Because there's 2 cameras up here, you see. And there is actually another camera which is on my phone. Which is that, but it's not turned on at the minute, so you can't see anything on it. But that is on my mobile phone. That sending a stream from my mobile phone. So yeah, we've actually got 3 cameras. We've got that one, we've got that one, and we've got that one. And then we've got all the captions and things as well, like that, you see, you can do so. Right, crikey, it's got all very technical all of a sudden. Yeah, right, okay, I think we've sorted it. I'm just checking the chat, make sure everybody was on the same page, sort of thing. Right, that is it for now. We will see you in a couple of weeks, everybody. Remember, if you've got anything that you want to tell us or anything in the meantime, get in touch with us. If you've got the email address, send us an email. If you've not got the email address, there's a contact form on the website, andyshed.copress.net. We will be back with this show in a couple of weeks' time. Whether there'll be anything else in the meantime, in Escape the Shed form, who knows? I've got one in the can that just needs editing together, so there might be one coming out before Christmas. Might be. We'll have to see. But from me for now, I will see you very soon. Bye for now, everybody. Bye bye.